Aloha everyone, Arms Inc. here, and today I got a history lesson on the Winchester Model 1890. And in front of us we got a Winchester Model 1890 chambered in 22 long rifle. This particular firearm I picked up a little while ago, shot, cleaned up, and I'm saving for my daughter. This is going to be her first rifle when she gets older. But anyways, it is a beautiful, interesting piece of history. It was designed by the legendary John Moses Browning, the same designer of the Browning machine gun, the Browning high power, the 1911 what is it, pump actions, semi-autos. He designed so many different kinds of firearms that he's like the godfather of firearms. His patents, the amount of patents he had in firearms was amazing. And but yeah, he designed this earlier in his career, and you know, it's a pretty interesting piece. There's a few different calibers that this particular model can be chambered in. 22 short, 22 long, which is different than 22 long rifle, and it can be chambered in 22 long rifle as well. 22 WCF, which is Winchester centerfire, and then there's also 22 Winchester, WRF, which is Winchester rimfire. That's different than the other one. So yeah, those are the few calibers that this particular model can be chambered in. And unlike other pump action 22s, since this was the first one that came around, whatever bolt carrier it has in, that's what kind of ammunition it needs. So if the bolt carrier is 22 long rifle, and the barrel's 22 long rifle, it's only going to work in 22 long rifle. Pardon me, the barrel and the bolt carrier have to be. So if your bolt carrier is 22 long rifle, you can't shoot 22 short, you can't shoot anything else out of it. And this was pretty different compared to the other pump actions. The later, Winchester 1960, 1962, something like that. Those ones, and later on, they were able to be chambered in a whole bunch of different variants. If it'd be 22 long rifle, 22 short, and 22 long. But this one can only be chambered in whatever one the carrier and the barrel are in, and mine is in 22 long rifle. There are three different generations of this gun. The first generation was a solid piece. The receiver, it's pretty rare to find them. There's only about 100,000 made, and then they stopped and they switched to a takedown, which is similar to what you see here. This is a takedown. However, they made some improvements on it and changed a few things around and went to the third generation, which is the one you see right here. The second generation only had around 200,000 made. Of the total 1890 series, with all three generations, there's an estimated 849,000 rifles that were made. Only 10% of all the 1890s that were made in 22 long rifle, because 22 long rifle, which now today is currently is a common cartridge, back then wasn't apparently as common, and therefore they only made 10% of them in it. So that does make this particular one that we see in front of us a little bit rare. This one in front of us is in okay condition. It's still got most of its bluing. It does have some nicks and scratches, and it's not perfect. But on the other hand, it's just a little bit under 100 years old, like 80, somewhere right around there. And also, when you get to the third generation, they're relatively hard to date, only due to the fact that Winchester didn't keep the same number pattern up. So they skip around with numbers. And for some reason the records got burned in the factory and disappeared. Now, when I heard that, I wondered to myself, why, if that's the case, how do they know they didn't double stamp numbers? Well, they don't know. So, if that ever happens, it's impossible to know, but they said they didn't. So, that's a little bit about the history of it. They didn't, oh, pardon me, I don't know if I mentioned this. They didn't start making the .22 long rifle until 1919. And there were different versions. There was an upgraded version where it had checkered stock and a few other things. And you know, I haven't really seen any of those. And there's also, people like to collect them based on what the cobs appear, the pump thing, how many notches they have. And because they did make different notches at different times, even if the guns were made around the same time, because these were handmade and the parts were handmade, there is some variance. So it's kind of cool. It does, pick them up. It does, as you can see, have an octagon barrel. And let's go look at some of the writing. And there's this model 90, or yeah, model 90 .22 long rifle. And right, that is it. And then there's the serial numbers. All mine are matching serial numbers. If anybody else got the serial number, let me know. Say, hey, you stole my gun. That's kidding. Nah. And then to take this apart, because this is the tactical kid's rifle of the day, you unscrew this screw, and there we go. It pops out, and it holds itself in place, so you're not going to lose that screw. It's got a little detent, which is kind of nice. And we'll examine the lower first before we get to the barrel and the other part of the receiver. Don't ask me which one is the registered firearm, because for some reason I've seen this part sold, I've seen the carrier sold, and I've seen the barrel sold, and I've seen the actual this part of the receiver sold, and no FFL needed. So I couldn't tell you which one's the actual part of the firearm. Now, I don't know, I don't think anybody really cares, but it's just the way it happens to be. So let's cock it back so we can kind of play with this. Like firearms of the time, there's a full cock, half cock, and then completely down. Let's put it in half cock. And half cock was the old version of safety, so it won't shoot, won't engage, just kind of get stuck there. And if we look at this carrier group, we can see this is LR, which stands for long rifle, and it's kind of how it looks. I don't really know enough about the mechanics of this to give you any more detail than that, but it is a very, very interesting firearm. I did order a book on eBay about it, and it was like $5, $6, $8, something like that. And I thought, oh, this is going to be such a deal, because the only other book I had seen was this one that actually the person I bought the firearm from, he showed it to me, and it had, you know, a detailed history of the 1890s. It's a two edition thing, and there are hundreds of dollars, and you know, it was a really informative book, had lots of amazing pictures, and you know, I thought about getting that, but it costs so much money. I just was like, I'll just get this cheap one, and it'll tell me everything I know. It came in the mail, and it was a complete piece of junk. I was really disappointed. It was like 4 pages, and you know, that should have just been free on the internet. You know, I don't know. 4 pages for that is not worth it to me. And I was kind of felt ripped off. It didn't say how many pages it was when I bought it, but it said it gave detailed history and talked about how to take it apart and whatnot. So I was kind of bummed. Anyways, so if you get your books, don't get some pamphlet book off eBay. Get an actual decent book on firearms if you want to learn anything, or go online. Better yet, just go online. This is the upper end barrel. When I'm saying upper, it's because I'm in the age of the AR-15, and that is what I know. There's the actual bolt inside here. See if I can bring it closer. It's kind of working, not really. Anyways, yeah. So anyways, the bolt's right in here. The firing pins, the hammer for the firing pin starts back here, continues through, and we'll strike it when it's up here. To assemble this, while we're here, I might as well take care of this. To feed this 22 long rifle, you turn this like this. You pull it up, and the tube just comes out. You'll notice down here that an opening comes that's shaped just like a 22 long rifle, and it's pretty, I don't know, I think this is pretty cool. It's kind of like the idiot-proof way of loading a firearm, so they can't fit it in any way but that way. So it's kind of nice, especially when you're giving it to kids. And this is the real intention of this rifle was, you know, for plinking. A lot of people use them in galleries, a lot of varmint hunting, and some people gave it to kids. At the time, this would have been a little expensive when it first came out. However, there we go. And you know, the Savage Stevens single shot was probably more or less what you'd give to a kid. But maybe, I don't know. I'm giving it to my kid when she gets older. There we go. You have to drop the hammer. So when you actuate the pump, this way, it pulls up the carrier, and then if you want to see if it's loaded or not, you'd actually see the round sticking right out there, and it just barely, like, the round fits perfectly in the chamber. And all the carriers are cut based on where the round would fit, so the carrier won't hold the round, it won't feed. And then you push it forward, and when you do that, there's a rod on the side that rides through, keeping this up, and pushes the round in, and then it pushes the carrier back down. And this is the bolt that engages it. So, pretty cool. Give you an idea of what the target picture. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah, that's what you have. It's full cock, half cock, and off. And the one last piece on the tang. So anyways, that's kind of a look at the Winchester model 1890. If you do come across any of these that are the first edition that are not take down, the likelihood is that it was made before 1900s. And if that's the case, then it's worth a lot of money, and also it's not considered a modern firearm, meaning it can be sold without going through an FFL if it goes across state lines. In the state of Hawaii, for instance, where we have registration and permits, you don't need to get a permit for an antique firearm. You don't need to have your long guns permit or anything like that. and you don't need to register it. So if that was in that version, I wouldn't have to register it. But because it's in this version, I had to register it. And it is a wonderful, it's very accurate. I've actually shot a zillion rounds downrange. The only kind of thing that gets me, oh, one more thing. On my particular one, these originally were just holes inside the barrel, not going all the way to the barrel, but they were, you know, tapped on the side. And I thought that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And the guy who bought it from me, who I bought it from, thought it was stupid, but he contacted, he gave it to the guy who was it the head of the Hawaii Historical Arms Society to help me, you know, see if I can get some screws to put in there or something, because it did shoot and it wasn't all the way through, but it still looks stupid having holes in the side of the gun. Turns out they used to mount scopes for this rifle off the side of the gun, and they used to tap it right over here. And so that's pretty weird, but that's what they used to do. So he made me some flush fitting screws and put them in, and now it looks good as new. And it does shoot great. I put a zillion rounds downrange, and this bore on this 22 is not too bad. It's grouping, I would say, at like 50 yards. It's kind of like that. But, you know, I'm shooting at Cocoa Head on windy days, outdoors, and just using cheap bulk ammo. And I haven't really like messed around to find the best ammo. So, you know, it's not like I'm really trying here. I'm just using, you know, regular cheap 22 long rifle. So anyways, you know, I love this gun, and I hope you guys like it too. If you guys have any comments, questions, suggestions, or knowledge about this firearm that I haven't stated already, I would love to hear it. Please put it in the comment box down below. Please like the video. Please subscribe. Mahalo for watching. Aloha.